Matthew, hello. Following Kevin Peterson's return home, you've been opening the batting in the last couple of games. Probably not gone as well as you would have hoped in those two games. Are you expecting or hoping to get the job again on Saturday?
When I was told I was opening, when KP went back, it wasn't a done decision for the whole tournament. It wasn't a decision made that I was going to be opening for the rest of the competition. I think as a batter and as a unit, one of our major strengths is that we adapt very well to different teams, different conditions, and I don't think any batsman in the top 6 or 7 has a particular argument about where they bat, and I think that's, as I say, a strength of ours at the moment. Do I want to open the batting? Of course I do. I love opening the batting. It gives you the best opportunity to bat 50 overs and get a big score on the board for your team. As you said, it hasn't gone to plan. That's a frustration for me, but I don't feel far away, and I know that if I do open, a big score's around the corner. I'm hitting the ball well. 1 or 2 things go my way, and I'm certain I'll get a big score.
Is that when you think you're best utilised, that role?
To be very honest with you, I'm not really sure. My stats would suggest not. I haven't scored the runs that I would have wanted, which is hugely frustrating for me, as I know I can play that role very, very well. I seem to do the hard work and then get out, which is, as I say, hugely frustrating. Over here, one of my key strengths is moving the ball around the field, especially with spinners on, and I think that's a part of my game that I back and probably has to be utilised as well. So whether that means I open or bat a little bit further down the order, I don't really know. All I know is that wherever I'm batting, there'll be a reason for it, and I've got to make sure that I prepare myself as best as possible for the conditions that I may face. So if that is opening, I'll be doing a lot of work against a new ball and the likes, and if I'm batting down the order, I'll be doing a lot of work against spin and reverse swing. So all you can do is prepare as best you can for the role you're given.
Ian Bell was saying last week, almost because of the way your World Cup's gone, you're the team perhaps no one wants to play because you never quite know what you're going to get. How do you now describe, now you've obviously reassessed a bit in Delhi and sort of taken stock of things, how do you now sum up the self-belief that you can go on and actually win the World Cup?
As a team, we're in a fantastic place right now. That win against West Indies gave us a huge amount of belief and a huge amount of confidence, and I think showed to everybody that we will not be beaten easily. We have a huge amount of resilience and a huge amount of fight in this group. We haven't played our best cricket by a long way, but that just shows we're still here, we're still in a quarter-final, and we've not even got anywhere near what we can do. So if we do come out and play as a team and get all 3 disciplines right, we're going to be very, very hard to beat and a very, very strong force. And the other thing that's nice for us is we go into this game with no pressure, really. We've, as I just said, we haven't played our best, and we will go into a quarter-final as underdogs against a very strong Sri Lankan team. And, we'll train as hard as we have done this whole winter. We'll prepare as hard as we have done, and we'll give it 110% on the day. And if it all comes together, as I say, we'll be a very hard team to beat.
Matt, just going back to you and opening the batting, do you think you know why it hasn't come off for you yet? What's specifically being not right?
Can I put that to the floor, please? Because I'm absolutely bewildered by it. As I said, I've opened the batting in county cricket now. Obviously, it's a step up. We all know that. In Test cricket, I've scored hundreds. People mention technique and things like that. I mean, that's just not it at all. You don't score hundreds in Test cricket if you've got a poor technique. It just something hasn't clicked. I think early on in my one-day career when I opened, I felt pressure to take on that role as a pinch hitter, and that sort of gave me a pretty poor start because I was sort of getting to those 20s and 30s and then trying to carry on and playing one too many shots and getting caught in the deep or whatever it might be, and that's put me sort of slightly behind the 8 ball. Going into this phase of my one-day international career, I've tried to find a better tempo, which I have done at times, but just not had a great deal of luck either. You know, things like go back to the Australia series. You know, feeling in good form at Sydney, doing sort of the hard work, and then Mitchell Johnson bowls me an absolute beauty, and just little things like that, where you start thinking, well, hang on a minute, maybe this is just not meant to be. But you know, you're only one innings away from turning it around, and it does turn around very, very quickly. And as I said, the belief in my ability that I have and that my teammates have is still there. And we're now in a quarter-final, and for me that's very, very exciting, because if I do open, I've got an opportunity to put my hand up and play an innings that gets us into a semi-final of a World Cup. And what's gone before is irrelevant. Certainly if you play that innings, people in this job have very short memories, and you've got an opportunity to turn everything around very, very quickly. So I've certainly not getting down myself. As I say, I've still got a huge amount of belief, and I just need one or two things to click, and that big innings is around the corner.
Matt, over the next couple of days, would you sort of prepare differently if you knew you were opening to, if you thought you were in the middle order? Is it something you'd like to know sooner rather than later what you're doing? Does it affect your preparation?
Yeah, certainly. I think, I mean, a lot of preparation now. I mean, we've been away, obviously, a long time. We've hit a lot of cricket balls and caught a lot of cricket balls and bowled a lot of cricket balls over the last sort of 5 months, 6 months. So it's almost not the netting and things that you need to sort out. It's more your mental side of the game, who you're going to be facing, who you're going to be coming up against, the situation of the game you might be confronted with. And they obviously differ from opening to batting in the middle order. So you want to find out as soon as possible, you know, sooner rather than the more time you have, the better, obviously. And that's a vital part of getting ready for a game like this, is that mental side and your mental preparation. I would assume at the end of training today or tomorrow, the guys would know.
Matt, one of the reasons Jeff Miller said you won the position over Steve Davis is the energy you give behind the stumps. Do you sense the guys have responded to your kind of, you know, calls to raise the game as well as they have in the past, or is there a sort of are they tired?
Well, I'd like to think so. You might have to ask them. They're probably getting a bit tired of me now. Look, there's no doubt that this unit has pulled through a lot of tough times and a lot of tough conditions and situations in games. And you don't do that unless you're a tight unit. You don't do that unless you are a group that sticks together and pulls through those tough times. You know, as I say, we haven't played as well as we'd liked, but I think the thing to look forward to now is this quarter-final and this game. Let's see what we can do in this game. That's what I'm excited about. We've got to, if you will, the sexy part of the competition, the knockout stages. Everything that's gone before is irrelevant. There are no points boards to look at. It's win or go home. And that in itself will bring a lot of adrenaline and a lot of energy to this team and to the guys that go out on the pitch. It's not something that until you told me that I didn't realise that. But now I will race back and tell Strauss to win the toss. Yeah, he probably does, to be honest. Look, it's one of those things that you play. You sometimes confronted with grounds that have those stats and whatnot, but stats are always there to be changed. Records are there to be broken. It's certainly by no means. You can't go into a game with the attitude, oh, well, if we lose the toss, we're in trouble. Games are always... The team that plays the best on the day will win the game of cricket, and I strongly believe that. You might be confronted with different conditions, but those are things that we train to be prepared for and to respond to. You can't go into a game solely relying on winning a toss. I mean, that's an excuse that you just can't use.
Matt, you said a little earlier that in a sense there's no pressure on England, and I think that's right. I mean, the huge expectation right here in Colombo is obviously on Sri Lanka. With that in mind, if you as a team, you know, play well and don't quite make it, would you then be able to reflect on this as being a satisfactory World Cup?
Well, we came here to win the World Cup. And if you leave this World Cup having not won it, you'd be disappointed. You haven't achieved your goal. The thing that I would say is that we've fought very, very hard as a unit. We haven't played well. Everyone knows that. It's quite blatant. But we're in a quarter-final. And anything can happen. We've got 3 games to win, and we're world champions. Now, to have won an Ashes and win a World Cup in a winter is something quite phenomenal, and something that all these guys in this dressing room are vying to do. Anything short of that, we'll be very disappointed because we haven't won. I don't think you can look back going, oh, well, that was okay, we don't mind that, tick boxes and all of that. We're here to win this World Cup, and that is certainly what we'll be trying to do. I think we've obviously improved. We've improved from the first few games. I think that the way the spinners, the way they've bowled, has been fantastic. I think Bresnan's been fantastic, the way he's kept coming in and hitting very, very good areas. And I think as a bowling unit, and in fact as a fielding unit altogether, we're certainly on the upward trend. And that's really important because, there's a lot of talk in World Cups that you don't want to be peaking too early, you don't want to be playing all your best cricket in the round games. We've learned a lot of lessons, we've got rid of a lot of cobwebs, and we know exactly what we need to do now in this quarter-final, and that's, as I say, very important. I think you can't underestimate or underemphasise the importance of it being a quarter-final. I think that plays a huge part, and we'll get the guys' juices flowing, and I think we'll see a very, very good performance from this England team.